What's up, RC people? Welcome to the RC channel. I'm the RC guy. Hope everybody's having a good day. Today we got a 70s Tonka Winnebago, and I'm going to show you guys how to convert this to RC. So here's the side. Here's the bottom. Here's the motor in the back. Got the winch in the front. There's the motor. And there's the inside. Let's go ahead and power it up. This goes in like that. Here's the winch. And we'll go over that, how to hook the winch up also to the Spektrum radio. I'll also show you guys how to hook up a Bluetooth speaker and power it off of your rig. The way I did my conversion, as you can see, there's no holes. There's nothing that's cut up on this interior panel. And all of the electronics mount up on the front there. We'll clean all this up, but there's no need to make any holes. Alright, so let's take it apart and start from the beginning. So I just want to show you guys something real quick. These are Vanquish tips, hex drivers, and they're replaceable. So if you round one out or it breaks, which it won't, these last forever, you can replace it. And then I just got this little skill driver from Lowe's. If you're working on RC cars and you don't have this, you need this in your life. This is the best investment you'll make for anything RC. This is so awesome to have this. It makes it so much easier and faster. It's a skill, just a little cheapo USB charger. Really handy to have. Just thought I'd share that. Alright, so that didn't take too long. Here's the top of the front, the window, a few tires, the rear axle. This is a SCX-10-1, the first SCX-10, that's what I'm using for axles. Here's the front. And then I'm using 2" by 2" aluminum 1/8" angle that I got from Home Depot. And this is the transfer case I'm using. I just got it on eBay. I don't know what it's to, but that's what I'm using. And then I have it mounted to a 1.5" by 1.5" piece of angle, and then that's mounted to an aluminum servo mount. And then I'm running a cheapo speed controller, brushed speed controller from eBay, BDESC-S10E-RTR. And then I'm running a Castle BEC. I'm running a I'm running a 100 turn Red Cat motor. And then this is a gear reduction. Again, I don't know what this is to. I just got it on eBay. And it seems to work really well. It's very smooth and very quiet. Alright, here's what it looks like stock. There's the inside. There's 12 rivets you want to drill out. There's 6 on each axle, and they're on the ends here. So drill those all out, and then these should just come right off. Alright, once you have the wheels removed, there's 3 screws on each side you're going to want to take out. One, 2, and 3. I already did the other side. And then you're going to want to carefully open this up. And be very careful and gentle with this window. It has a little channel right there, and that's all it holds it in. If that breaks, the window is going to fall out. So once you remove this piece and the window, the top comes out. And then you want to pull the sides all the way off. There's a little lip right here on the bottom. Lift it all the way out. Lift the other side and then kind of squeeze them a little bit. There we go. So once that's out, we can flip it over and start on the bottom. Okay, so we're going to measure our space here. So we got it's about 21 1/4, so we'll cut it at 21. See, it doesn't need to be tight. You don't want to fight it. And you're not going to be using really anything on the ends anyway. So we'll cut 2 pieces at 21 and I'll be back. Okay, we got our aluminum pieces cut. Before I said they were 2 inch, they're 1.5 inch. 1.5 by 1/8 inch. That's what I'm using for the chassis of the truck. You can drop them in. I made these 21. That way you don't have to fight it when you're putting it in. And then I went 1 7/8 inches from the edge of the aluminum to the edge of this metal here. But yours may not be the same. And then we're going to take our drill. Look at that power. And then put a screw in. That way the back end doesn't move around on you. It's a lot easier and you're not fighting it. And then our last one goes up front. And then do the same on the other side. Drill your hole. Put the screw in and just go all the way down. We really only need the back 2 and the front 2. This middle one will be supported by the transfer case. Alright, so you want to center up the axle in the wheel well about right there. And then on the other side, and then on this side, you want to line up your link. Make sure you're still centered. Yep, right in the middle. Hold the link right there. And as you can see, I've already marked it. And then do the same measurement from the front to the back here and mark it on the other side. So I have the upper links installed. These are the ones that's going to center your wheel in the wheel well. So if you make them longer, it'll push your wheel forward. If you make them shorter, it'll bring your wheel back. And then these lower links are what's going to adjust your pinion angle. Once these are in, the wheel really doesn't move a whole lot. So we'll measure, get this centered up about where we want it, and we'll measure up some links. Okay, I have these links on. I just have these long screws on temporarily just to mock everything up and see where it's all going to land. Okay, again, I'm just going to hold this up. And right about there. And the same on this side. So we'll get those put on. Alright, we got the axle in. Let's hook up the shocks. Alright, the shocks are in. The suspension's all done on the front. So we're just going to cut some 1/4 inch brake line to cover this all thread. This is number 8 all thread from Home Depot, and these are Traxxas Revo ends. This is what I'm using for my links. 5525, number 8 all thread, and 1/4 inch brake line. Here's what I'm using. Precision Tube Company 6061 T6 aluminum, 0.25 OD by 0.035 wall. Set it right up against the bottom rod, mark it, then make sure the other side is the same. Yep. Alright, let's cut it. Here's my little saw I used for making links. It's from Harbor Freight, the Drill Master 2-inch cutoff saw, item number 62136 from Harbor Freight. All right, I'm lined right up. Okay, let's see how it fit. Let's say that's pretty good. Fits right in there. Perfect. Let's cut the other one. See how much thread you have going into the rod end? There we go. That looks a lot better. So here's the steering links. I have a over-under setup, just something different. Alright, the rear axle I did the same as the front. I centered it up in the fender well, placed the upper links, drilled the holes and mounted those on, and then got my drive angle right and placed the lower links and mounted those. While those were on, I kind of eyeballed the placement for a sway bar. So it's going to be on this lower hole here, and then it's going to link up to this bar here. It'll catch on this one. So let's get all this mounted in, and I'll be right back. I opened up the axles and put new grease in there because the stuff that comes from the factory usually isn't very good. So now we won't have to worry about that. Alright, let's see what's inside the transfer case. These gears look to be heavy duty, should last a long time. Let's get them greased up. Alright, I got the front and rear axle on. Everything came out pretty good. There's no binding. And the sway bar on the back, it seems to make a big difference, so it's going to help a lot with body roll. It should ride pretty good. So what we have left to do is the winch is going to go up front and the transfer case. But before we put the transfer case on, let's get the winch in, because once these two rails are bolted down, it's going to be really hard to work on that. So let's do that first. Okay, so let's just take the aluminum out. So I have these 3 holes I drilled. The outer 2 are for the mounting of the roller, and the one in the middle is right in the middle of the truck. But if you have your winch line go through that hole, it's going to rub on the edges of the hole and wear through your winch line and break it. So when you get your old servo, you know, these packs that you never use anything out of, I took one of these metal This came out of the accessory pack for the servo, and then I just placed it right in the middle like that, and then I'll put a little bit of glue behind it to hold it. Alright, there it is on the inside. Let's put a little glue. Alright, that looks pretty good. Okay, here's the roller. The screws on. Okay, we got the screws on the roller. Okay, the roller's on. Okay, so next I have to put this guide in this hole here, which lines up with the hole that we just drilled for the insert for the line to go through. So the line will come through that insert we just installed, and then through this, and there'll be another one just like it, and that will guide the line right into the spool so it goes on right in the middle. Here's our servo winch. This is just some old inserts I had off of a rim that I would never use. And then in the middle there's 4 bolts, and in between the 2 plates there's 2 nuts like this that are back to back, one here and one there. So here's the inside of the servo winch. This is what you need to remove, is this little circuit board and this little potentiometer. That potentiometer will be mounted down in this area, and you can see right there in the corner there's a clip, and there's another one just like it on this corner here, and you have to kind of push them both at the same time and shimmy it, and that whole thing will come out, and that goes in the trash. Then you can go on eBay or Banggood or any of those websites, and you can buy one of these brushed ESC, and then that just plugs directly onto the motor here. It doesn't matter which way you solder it on. You can change the direction on the remote control. So just put that on there, mount it on. Either way, it doesn't matter. And then you can use conformal coating, this stuff here, MG Chemicals silicone modified conformal coating. You can get this on eBay too, and just do 2 light coats about 5 to 8 minutes apart. Put the first coat on, and just as it starts to tack over, you can put another coat on, and then it'll be waterproof. But this one's not. I don't really worry about that. And then you just push it in there, put the lid on, make sure you're not pinching anything. Okay, once you have that put on, you're going to want to push on this where the servo horn mounts on. And you'll see all these gears. Take this top one off here. And then take this one off where the servo horn mounts on. And then you can see here there's a hole right there. There's going to be a peg sticking out. Just grab your needle nose pliers and just wiggle it, and it'll come right off. You have to remove that little stub that sticks off. It comes off real easy. And then put that back on first. Put this other gear on. Just be very careful. Don't force anything. It should go on real easy. And then once that's on, make sure the seam closes up. that's it. And then that goes on like that. All right, let's test it. Okay, so this is a Spektrum DX4C radio, and I'm using a Spektrum SR3520 3-channel receiver. And then I have the winches hooked up here to channel 3, and then here I have a BEC just running a battery. So let's turn the radio on, and then you're going to want to press down on the roller and then scroll down. Don't press, just roll it until you get to switch, and then press down on the roller. And then on each of these switches, you can see on the front, this one says A, B, C, D, and E is this one here. So we're going to want to put it on this one, which is switch A, and it just happens to not be used now, so that's perfect. So you're going to roll down, don't press, just roll, and then once it's highlighted, then you press on it. See, it's blinking. Roll, don't press, just roll it up. Keep rolling it until you see auxiliary 1 3P, and then press down, and then you can go back to the main screen. So that should be programmed, and then let's plug in our BEC. The receiver's on. Now when I go down, it should go one way, and up should go the other way. So now it's going out. Press it up to stop, and then press up again. Now it's going in. Press down to stop. Press down again and it'll go out. Press up to stop. Up again, goes in. And then down is the center position, which would be off. So that works perfect. Let's get it all installed. So the way to mark these holes out for the winch is I just set them like that where they need to go, and you can mark 2 marks here, and then do the same on this side. Make 2 marks there, and then you can use a square and measure exactly the pattern that you want, but that'll give you it'll put you really close to where you need to be. And even if you're off a little bit, these legs move quite a bit. So just set it like that. You can make 2 marks. Set it here. Make 2 marks, and then you can use a square to make your lines going up and down and left and right, and it'll put you right where you need to be. So here's the servo winch mounted to the frame. I countersunk the screws, and I have a rubber grommet here to protect the wires when it's going to go through the cab of the truck. So we got plenty of space here, plenty of clearance from the servo. And then that grommet will feed right through this slot here, so you don't have to drill any additional holes. Alright, the shocks are all in. This all looks really good. You just have the 2 screws here in the back, and then now we'll put the transfer case in and get the front mounted in. This transfer case is mounted on 1 by 1 by 1/16 aluminum angle, and I just mounted to the top of it. And then I have this servo mount, and this just lines up and mounts onto that. And this kind of gives me a kind of like a drop box. This helps move the transfer case up and align the drive angles a little better. So I'm going to mount this together, and then I'm going to line it up with my axles, find the center point. That's where I'm going to mount this, and then once I have all that hooked up, I'll show you what I got. Okay, so here it is all done. Got the aluminum rails in, got the transfer case in, got the links all made up. The sway bar really makes a big difference. And then here's our winch. Goes through that, feeds out right through the middle, and then goes through the second eyelet. And that makes it come right out of the middle of there. Oh, you can actually see it. See the eyelet in there? You can see here the double arm setup, and then I got the carbon fiber steering arm. These are Traxxas 5525, and then this is 1/4 inch aluminum tubing, and then inside of there is number 8 all thread that you can buy at Home Depot. And then this carbon fiber is just a 1/4 inch carbon fiber wing spar for an airplane that I bought at the hobby store. This aluminum also makes it really strong. It doesn't flex very much. And you don't have to drill any holes inside. Let's look at the inside. That's the inside. 4 screws, 2 screws back here, and then 2 screws underneath here. So these 2 you'll never even see. None of these you'll ever see actually. And then our wire comes through here for the steering servo and the winch. And then that'll be covered by the doghouse where the motor would go. And then in this back corner, there's an existing hole right there. And that's where I'll pass the wires for the speed controller to the motor. Speaking of the motor's going to mount right under this axle here. So let's get that all set up and installed. So here's the transmission. It just has dual planetary gears inside. Pretty simple setup. So let's open it up and we'll get it greased up and ready to put in the rig. Okay, so the screws are out. There's the pinion gear. There's the first set of gears. So this piece has a gear on the inside. And it's a double gear reduction. So this is one set. And that's the output shaft. Alright, let's get them all greased up. Make sure you put grease in these gears also. Put a little bit inside, and then a little bit, oops, a little bit on here. And then I already greased those gears, and then this just drops in. And then this plate goes on top. And then the motor mounts on like that. Alright, I'll get all this put back together. Okay, the transmission's back together. Let's turn it, see what it sounds like. Looks good, it's nice and quiet, really smooth. So let's put it in the back of the truck. So I drilled these 4 holes that match the pattern on this bracket for the transmission. And then I made these little standoffs out of that 1/4 inch aluminum I used for the steering links, and just cut them up with my little saw. So I'm going to get the transmission mounted, and then I'll show you what I got. Alright, there it is, the transmission's in. Looks real smooth. Alright, we got the motor and transmission in. Here's the front end. Everything looks really good. Pretty happy with how it came out. So we'll turn it over and we'll start hooking up the electronics. Here's what it looks like from the inside. This is where we're going to run our power wires through. that was there from the factory. And then this hole up here, we're running the servo and the winch. And then up here, underneath here, I put some Velcro, 2 strips across the front, and that's where we're going to mount the electronics and the battery. So let's take a look at the electronics that we're going to be using. I just have this real cheap speed controller, got on eBay for I think under 10 bucks. And then I have a Castle BEC, and I'm running a Spektrum SR3520, and then I'm running 12 gauge wire, and then I have Castle 6.5 millimeter bullets on the end just to disconnect the motor if I need to. And then on this end I have a old USB cable that I took apart. I cut this end off. This end I cut off. And I soldered on a servo extension. So on this wire there's black, red, green, and yellow. The red and black, you just hook to the red and black of the servo lead, and the green and yellow or white, depending on which kind of wire you have, just use the red and black, don't worry about the other wires. And then here on my BEC I have this extra wire, and I hooked it into this jumper I made. And now I can run my Bluetooth speaker and power it off of my truck. You can also hook it straight to the receiver. If you use this end, you can just plug it right in the receiver. Just make sure that you're not over 6.5 volts coming off your receiver. I usually run mine at 6 volts and I've never had a problem. And then this I can just plug in my Bluetooth or my phone and charge or listen to the radio. So now that we've got all our wiring hooked up, let's get it put in the truck. So all the wires are hooked up, and then I'm just going to stick everything on the back with Velcro. Right against the front there. And then where all my wires are going to go, I put down some duct tape just to help the wires from rubbing onto this rusty metal. Just kind of clean them up a bit. Okay, everything's up against the front of the truck. Let's plug it in and test it out. Alright, that seems to be working. This is a 3-cell 2200 Turnigy, and this will just go right up under the front as well. And you can see there, it all fits up against the front. There's the speed controller, the receiver, the BECs underneath, and there's the battery. Alright, let's put the interior in. Make sure the plastic goes underneath this lip here. Alright, that looks pretty good. Put the front window on. And then this metal part on this point needs to go in the channel here. And you need to get behind this plastic. Put our screws in. Okay, there it is, all done. Here's my power for my Bluetooth speaker. Here's the inside. No holes anywhere. And the battery fits right under the driver's area. And let's see the bottom. And here's the bottom. There's the motor, transmission. Just spent about an hour driving this rig, and this thing is unbelievable. If you don't have one, you need to go out and get one and build it. This thing is so much fun. Handles a lot better than I thought it would. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for watching. Consider giving me a thumbs up and a subscribe if you liked the video. And we'll see you next time. More to come.